Ooh, I'm ballerina. Suck it. Oh, Deuce.
Deuce Bigelow.
Rainfall is projected to be as much as 24 inches within our area. A tornado watch is in effect for much of east central Florida and Orange County today through at least 5 p.m.
Please vote for Val Demings. She is my wife.
To curtail travel by motor vehicle no later than 2 p.m. today, because we should begin to see wind gusts and sustained wind speeds of 35 plus miles per hour. That makes it dangerous for people to be out on the roadway. So again, we're asking our residents to begin to curtail motor vehicle traffic today by as early as 2 p.m. Within the next 24 hours, we will get sustained winds of 95 miles an hour. And so that means that those are hurricane force winds that will create significant damage for our community, and we want everyone to be prepared for that. By this evening, we will be experiencing full tropical force, tropical storm winds. With the worsening of these conditions, Orange County Fire Rescue crews are right now out checking all 79 of our mobile home parks, and they are providing evacuation notices for those who are living in those mobile home communities. This is the second time that our fire rescue crews have visited the mobile home parks in the past 2 days. They will be making an announcement on a loudspeaker to evacuate to a hardened structure or nearby shelter. Residents should relocate no later. Again, we're asking them by 2 p.m. today. Now, we're being proactive in our community to assist in this process. We have teams of law enforcement and fire personnel who are working as we speak with the Lynx public bus system, and they are working on a voluntary evacuation plan for mobile home parks within our community. We are working with Lynx. We have the interim CEO here, Ms. Tiffany Homer Hawkins, who has joined us. They have provided 13 buses that will be utilized in some of these most vulnerable areas that I've just talked about, the mobile home parks, and we will be proactively evacuating persons from those areas. These are in low-lying areas that historically have had problems and the inability for residents to evacuate in the past. I want to remind residents that our Orange County Fire Rescue crews have also visited all 96 Orange County assisted living facilities, checking on their emergency plans and making sure that all of them are safe. All 96 have been visited. All 5, let me talk a little bit about shelters at this point. All 5 of our shelters are now open and receiving residents. With this rapidly changing hurricane, we urge residents to not delay if they need to use the shelters. They are there for your convenience. There are 3 pet-friendly shelters, one at Apopka High School, Oak Ridge High School, and Timber Creek High School. Again, all of these will be accepting individuals and their pets. Ocoee High School and Dr. Phillips High School are also being used as shelters, but they are not to have pets in those specific locations. Now, for Orange County residents who require special needs, we have open shelters. If you want to gain assistance, if you are a person with special needs or disability, in other words, we can arrange transportation to a special needs shelter for those individuals. They simply have to call 311 within Orange County, and our staff will work to have and facilitate those persons being taken to the special needs shelters. Right now, we have 20 special needs residents within shelters within the county. And we are opening a 3rd special needs shelter for residents in the next few hours. In terms of solid waste collection, residential curbside garbage, recycling and yard waste, and large item collections in unincorporated Orange County will stop at noon today. today. No service will be provided tomorrow and Friday. Any materials that are out on the curbside, we're asking that you remove those materials because that means that they could potentially be a hazard to others as the wind speeds will pick up. Residents, in terms of collections, residents who would have had normal collections on Thursday and Friday for garbage and recycling items, those items will be picked up the following week during the regular scheduled days. That would be Thursday, October 6th, and Friday, October the 7th. Yard waste collections may be delayed for all households during storm recovery. I will tell you that we have no idea what the potential damage could be from the storm, but one of the things that we do proactively as a county is that we enter in debris removal contracts, and we have those contracts in place, and that brings in extra haulers post a hurricane that can help us within those immediate 72 hours after the hurricane to remove debris. Our utilities workers understand this is a bit of an inconvenience for our residents, and we do appreciate everyone's cooperation and patience as we move through this process. With our solid waste facilities, I want to give you an update. The Orange County landfill and our transfer stations are scheduled to close to the public today at noon, and they will remain closed through Friday. And with that, let me just also share some other information with you. We know that we have a number of people who have been evacuating from surrounding counties and throughout the state. They have been coming. We do have capacity within our hotels. At this point, Visit Orlando estimates that the occupancy rate is at 85% within our community. So we still have 15% capacity within our local hotels. In terms of the homeless, I get asked questions about, are we taking care of the homeless? Yes, we are. We're working very closely with our homeless shelters. We're working closely with the Homeless Services Network to ensure that our homeless individuals are housed. I'm told that we have approximately 60 individuals now in non-congregate housing within Orange County as well. And with that, I'm going to ask Sheriff Mina to come forward and to provide some comments to you. And then after that, I will then, for our Spanish-speaking media, I'm going to ask some of our staff to come up and assist us in providing some additional details. With that, Sheriff Mina.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon. So I just want to reiterate, the Orange County Sheriff's Office is prepared to keep everyone safe before, during, and after the storm. We have more than double the amount of personnel that we usually have out there on the streets to keep everyone safe. I do want everyone to heed the warnings that we're giving you, that after 2 o'clock, we should not be on the roadways unless we're essential personnel. And for those of us who are staying in our homes, to make sure we shelter in place, the Orange County Sheriff's Office is assisting with the voluntary evacuation of some of those mobile home parks that are vulnerable to flooding and other damage. So we will be out there. Again, as I stated, we have more than double the personnel that we usually have out there as far as law enforcement is concerned. So if you see suspicious activity, if you see people doing things they're not supposed to be doing, committing crimes, call the Sheriff's Office, call 911, and those people will be caught and taken to jail, and they will face partial penalties because of the state of emergency. And again, if anyone needs anything from the Orange County Sheriff's Office or law enforcement, please don't hesitate to reach out, call 911 or a non-emergency number. And we're also working with our other municipal police departments to ensure that we're all on the same page as far as the safety of this community. Our deputies, carry generators and chainsaws for the flooding aspect. We have many watercraft, many vehicles that can go through water for rescues or anything like that. Of course, we have our aviation, our helicopter assets as well for after the storm. And remember, after the storm, that people need to avoid down power lines and standing water. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Before I ask the staff to come up, we also do have several of our Orange County commissioners who have joined us today. They've been working in their respective districts to ensure that residents are safe. We have Commissioner Rivas and Commissioner Maribel Gomez-Cordero who joined us as well. But also at this point, I'm going to ask some of our staff to come up. I call them the three amigos, so we're going to be coming up at this point. First, familiar face to you, Dr. Raul Pino, who's going to come up and he's going to share with you some information about our shelters and what we.
He's the first reduced to trial.
His voice.
Bei meinem ersten Verhör wurden die Beweise aus mir herausgeprügelt. Ich kann den Verhörern zeigen, wo blame interrogators.
I got the microphones on, so like German stuff coming through is kind of funny.
In August of 1945, Huss passed through several British checkpoints, unrecognized.
Like many SS officers, Huss tried to escape by losing his identity and assuming a new one. He assumed the identity of a sailor. He made his way to the island of Silt.
The
He tried to live his life as a farmer under the alias Fritz Long. The British captured him at one point, but were not sure. They didn't know who he was. Eventually, they figured it out.
Para la protección. También el condado, con la asistencia del Departamento de Salud del Estado en Orange County, un tipo de limitaciones que necesitan ayuda.
Unforgettable centerpiece. Total cost for this. Safe, we know you will. You know, interestingly, back with Charlie, when it hit Punta Gorda back in 2004, much more compact storm, very strong. Wait. Such a huge swath of our state. Really, a good chunk of.
We said for the experience that we have with the group, you have Jeff who's
Master's Factory, we have a unique way of doing things.
Your flow is being forced in here. The defense admit that Michelle has been manipulative with Matt. They admit that their client has had a difficult, trouble.
It won't be a threat to the hospital, but by around 12:18, we could see this area of potential tornado. It's nothing confirmed at this point. We call this a radar indicated tornado, but this is one of those things where we try to stay ahead of it, right? We've been talking about this all morning, from preparing, from evacuating, always trying to stay one step ahead of Ian, and in this case, this is what the warning is for, to try to stay one step ahead of this tornadic threat as it moves now across southern Hardee County, moving to the northwest at a pretty good pace. 45 miles per hour is pretty fast. Typically, when we track these things, we might say they're moving around 15 to 20 miles per hour, but moving at 45 miles per hour is pretty quick, so it's going to move up on you pretty quickly. Even without the tornado threat, there's still going to be that threat for some pretty strong wind gusts that might even rival a severe thunderstorm warning, where you're talking about wind speeds of 50 to 60 miles per hour that can certainly take down some branches, and even with our saturated ground, could even knock over some trees, and that would have the same effect as knocking down some stems in the tree, because ultimately those trees and the root system could fall onto homes, power lines, knock out power, and that's the ultimate concern there is when does the weather then begin to impact you? or potentially hurt you. So this is where we really have to be careful, make sure we get away from those potential threats. Tyler, let's zoom out again real quick. Let's take a look at the bigger area here, just to make sure. I've heard a couple of other alerts coming in. I don't think we have any more tornado warnings to pass along, but still, certainly several areas dealing with those tropical storm or even hurricane conditions. Looking at eastern Sarasota County, that band right there certainly probably has some potential to produce some damage as well. In fact, Tyler, let's zoom in on this area right here, right in the north.
I think we've seen a full.
He was released from prison, having already served more than 10 years behind bars.
Hot your junk with Auction Kings. Coming up next.
On the block this week on
Right there.
I have a beautiful antique chair here that plays music.
It actually should work when you sit on it.
Oh, so it is butt operated. What you got there, man?
It's a Vendorama ballpoint pen dispenser.
I think it's cool that it has all these original pens in it.
It's an M16 training rifle.
That's a gun, right?
I don't see a whole lot of them.
And what you're looking at is St. Joseph Sound in northern Pinellas County. Look at that, facing the Spoil Islands here. James says it's the lowest tide that he's seen in 17 years.
So let's get right now to Fox 13 meteorologist Jim Weber for the very latest to maybe explain why that is happening, Jim.
Yeah, and we continue to watch now. This eye wall is working its way on shore down to the south. We're surging all this water onto the coastline, and to the north, we're pushing all the water out of the bay. But right now, we also have a tornado warning. Quickly touch on this. This is now for Hardee County. This is the area that we're talking about here for the past few minutes. We have a tornado. This is a radar indicated tornado working its way up into Hardee County. This goes for another 14 minutes with this radar indicated tornado. But you look down to the south, and this is the eye. This is Hurricane Ian's very intense eye working its way on shore. Now seeing the strongest portion of this with that eye wall pushing on shore. And